The Switch 2 trailer was pretty epic, and by that I mean it was pretty shit, like the Switch 2? More like I have to switch to a different game console. I'm kidding, obviously, the Switch 2 is going to be great. If they have good games, that is. I have little faith in Nintendo to make good games, but I'll give them some ideas, so they don't absolutely screw this up, because they'll probably somehow screw this up. I guess you could say the Switch 2 will fail without these games. Alright, let's get with the biggest game everybody wants. Everybody wants a new 3D Mario. I mean, obviously, it's 3D Mario. It's one of the most fun things ever, except for stupid 64 and Sunshine. Those games are absolute garbage. No one should ever play Mario 64. The game is garbage awful tier, like, ew. I don't care what it did for the game industry, it sucks. Anywho, I had this really great idea for a 3D Mario game. So Mario, right? Him being like the superstar... Did I fucking just say superstar? I did not just make a Kirby Superstar reference. That game is ass. Not as bad as Mario 64 though. Anywho, back to the point. Mario in this game will be able to collect a thing called the Friendship Star. Or if you throw it at his opponents, it will become his friend. And you can have up to 3 friends at a time. You're probably thinking, you're wild, Galaxia. You're an absolute genius. What else is there gonna be in this game? Well, I'm glad you asked. So you know how Mario has super cool power-ups like the Tanuki, the Fire Flower? Well, you're gonna be able to combine those with elemental abilities. For example, if you get the Fire Guy from Mario, of course, I don't know who else would be from like Kirby, Burning Leo, who wants that? You can combo it with the Ice Flower, like the Fire Ice Flower, like it'd be a combination of the two. I have never seen any game do that before, okay? That's like the most best idea ever. It would be like the awesomest gimmick ever. Also, the biggest gimmick of this game is you'll be bringing Mario's past characters and bring them all into a playable role. Like those bunny guys from Mario Odyssey, that King Goomba, Bowser, all those basic Mario characters like Toad, Daisy, Peach, all that, except Luigi, cause yawn, boring. It's just celebrating the history of Mario, and this game will be called Super Mario Star Allies. Genius, I know, thank you. Alright, Metroid fans, I got a game for you too that Nintendo needs to make. So you guys are getting Metroid Prime 4 coming soon. Which I bet none of you guys are actually excited for. Like, who's excited for Metroid Prime 4? More like Metroid Prime Bore, am I right? Okay, anywho, actually, I think one of you guys are excited for that game. Only one, though, so it's gonna sell one copy. I know who's gonna buy that. But anywho, they're gonna cancel Metroid Prime 4. So sorry that one person wanted to buy Metroid Prime 4. They don't care about you. And right, they're gonna make a brand new game instead. So in this game, Metroid loses her ability to fight. And she is super devastated by this. But in her hometown, she accidentally starts a fire, and she has to put out the fire with her super cool water abilities, which is just a water hose. And the firefighters there can't do it themselves because, you know, they're old firefighters. And so, like, Metroid realizes that, like, she could be a firefighter, and that there's more than just fighting. She can be saving lives instead of just fighting stupid aliens like she does. So then she goes ahead and gets her firefighting license, and that's in the game, and the game's gonna be called Metroid Fire and Rescue, okay? Okay. Genius, I know, thank you. Thank you for listening to that. That was very important. Since I'm technically a Kirby channel, I mean, technically I am, because I reference the pink fuck all the time. I gotta make a new game for Kirby, because the Switch 2 needs one of those, because Kirby fans will not buy the Switch 2 if it doesn't have Kirby on it. Like, you need Kirby on the Switch. It's literally a system seller. So here's my greatest idea for the Kirby game. Kirby fans, you're gonna want to stay for this. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. So since Kirby in the Forgotten Land is absolute garbage and it sucks butt, they need to get back to the roots of Kirby, and by that I mean they need to go back one game. That's right, Kirby Star Allies. They just gotta grab that right, slap a little 2 on it, then boom, billions of dollars. They don't even need to change the game at all, they just have to re-release it, make it at $70, slap a 2 on it. I would pay $500. I would pay 10 trillion actually to get that game. I mean, they might have to add a little bit of content, I guess, so they could put it in the advertising. So here's what I had in mind for the extra content. They need to add fan-favorite characters. Like, you know how they have Dream Friends? They need to add fan-favorite characters. Like, Wispy Woods as a playable character, Flowery Woods, and the Robot Woods as all playable characters. And they should remove Marks, because that's not a real Kirby character. That's a Smash Bros. Character. Why would they have that in Kirby? It makes no sense. Like, ugh. Alright, a new Zelda. It'll probably be a bit before we get a new Zelda game, but it doesn't mean I can't create one real quick. Nintendo better pay me for these ideas, because they are just too good. They're absolute flames. Okay, the whole Breath of the Wild formula is getting kinda stale after a while. And by after a while, I mean after the first time I played it after an hour, I got bored. Like, who actually likes open world games? They're so yawn boring. So my idea for this game is that it's gonna be a 3D platformer. But unlike Mario 64, this game won't be absolute trash garbage. So the plot of this game will be that Gandalf would steal all the food in Hyrule. Like, that's the evilest thing you could do. Stealing all the food in your kingdom? How vile could you be? Stealing other food? That's just evil. Anywho, Link, more like Stink, am I right? He would need to go get all the food back because the people are starving and whatever, and, you know, you can't just steal all the food, and they can't just make more food, because, like, that's too hard to do, apparently, to make more food. So, stealing the old food, even though it's probably nasty by now, is a way better idea. And this game will be called Zelda's Dreamland. Okay, Xenoblade. Since the Switch has 800 trillion Xenoblade games on it, because apparently that's more important than making more Kirby games, like, God. It's not like a different company makes the Xenoblade games or something. I had a most fantastic idea ever for Xenoblade. So I don't like getting used to a new cast of characters, so I was thinking we can bring back some of the old characters for this new story. So you grab Zeke, you grab Pandora, you grab Cena, you grab Lance. All 4 of those characters would be great, so they'll be competing in these races called the World Grand Prix. Cena and Lance will be competing in the races, while Zeke and Pandora support from the outside by talking them through with a headset, like their pit stop crew or whatever. But, since you know Zeke and Pandora are very silly, they'll end up getting in some shenanigans. And they'll be getting themselves in wacky situations, like becoming a spy, and having to save the world from super evil people. That's the plot. It's an RPG game, of course, because, you know, Xenoblade games are always RPGs. They can't switch to a different formula, because the RPG formula works. No one wants to play a pinball Xenoblade game, okay? Anywho, this will be called Cars Xenoblade 2. You see what I did there? You see what I did there? Okay, why is it called Xenoblade Cars 2? Because they're in races. That's why. Like, they're driving in cars. Not because it's a reference to Cars 2. It's totally different. It's totally different. It's totally different. Oh yeah, also, PlayStation. Bring over all your games. Nobody even wants a PS5 anymore. PS5? More like PlayStation stupid, am I right, guys? Haha, got 'em. And bring over all your games, except the ones people don't care about, like Spider-Man. Nobody even likes the Spider-Man games. Don't bring over those crappy games like God of War and Spider-Man. Bring over the good games that people care about, like Knack and every single Ratchet & Clank game, which is Size Matters and Secret Agent Clank. Nobody wants God of War. So you could just cancel all of those, I guess. Oh yeah, Nintendo. We needed a game called Garfield Lasagna Party 2. A hit sequel to Garfield Lasagna Party. We need it, Nintendo. Do not forget about that. We also need a new Cars game. You know Cars 3 Driven to Win? That one sucks. I'm actually not kidding that time. The game's just Cars 2, but it actually sucks. That's not even satire. It's just kind of mid. 100%ed it, it's just kind of mid. It's just Cars 2. Anyways, we need a new Cars game. And it needs to be amazing, because I need a new Cars game. I'm, like, dying for a new Cars game. Please. I need Lightning McQueen to go ka-chow. Please, Nintendo. You totally make the Cars games, by the way. Alright, one final game to really take the Switch 2 home. Alright, you guys know those Batman Arkham games, right? Or, like, really any DC game for that matter. Everyone hates all the DC games. There's one game everyone loves. Every single person in this world loves. And by every single person, I mean myself. It's called DC Superhero Girls Teen Power. It is also published by Nintendo. I'm not actually kidding. Nintendo published DC Superhero Girls Teen Power. I can look it up. They didn't make it, but they did publish it. So I'm thinking they grabbed DC Superhero Girls, right, and they just grab it, and then they port it over to the Switch. I mean, you could already play it on the Switch too, because it's backwards compatible, but they did that with Mario and Luigi, like, when they brought Bowser's Inside Story. You could play it on the DS and the 3DS, but they remastered it anyways. So they should remaster DC Superhero Girls Teen Power, right? Charge you $70 for it. Boom, billions, hundreds of dollars. Nintendo, I will be your only buyer on that game, but I'm telling you, it'll make me very happy. They should also make a sequel. They need to make a sequel too, and, like, call it, like, DC Superhero Girls Star Allies. Like, you know, I'm just saying, like, that would be billions of dollars. So that was my Switch 2 lineup predictions, I guess, are just games that need to be on the Switch. If they're wrong, they're not, because they're real. I work at Nintendo, broski. You got no proof that they're wrong. It's gonna happen eventually. Even if it doesn't happen on the Switch 2, we're gonna get Kirby Star Allies 2. If we never get Kirby Star Allies 2, I might be dead. You might find me in a ditch somewhere if we never get Kirby Star Allies 2. Nintendo, please, all these games need to happen immediately. You better listen to my demands, or else I will cry, because that's what I do on the internet. I love crying on the internet, and so I will cry even more if I don't get any of these games. Trust me, 100% not lying. Also, please cancel Metroid Prime 4. Nobody wants that game, Nintendo.